Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's talk about a pretty radical idea. What if the best way to get your rights back isn't by protesting, but by being so good they have to give them to you? We're going to dive into an argument that completely flips the usual script on activism.
All right, let me ask you something. Just imagine for a second, a right you take for granted, something fundamental like your citizenship, is just gone. The government takes it away. What do? What's your first instinct? Do you hit the streets, organize a protest, start making demands? Well, this isn't just a thought experiment. It's the setup for a truly remarkable real-life story.
And to really unpack this idea, we're going to look at the story of a true legend, tennis superstar Martina Navratilova. Her experience is the core example used by the author Maulana Wahiduddin Khan, and honestly, it's the backbone of his entire argument.
So, picture this. It's the 1970s. Martina Navratilova is this incredible tennis prodigy coming out of communist Czechoslovakia. But she wasn't just a great athlete. She was also really outspoken, had these pro-American views, and you can imagine that put her on a direct collision course with her own government.
And yeah, that conflict had some serious consequences. In 1975, right as her career was taking off on the world stage, the Czech government literally stripped her of her nationality, just like that. She was made stateless by her own country. And get this, that wouldn't be officially fixed for more than 30 years.
So what do you do in that situation? How do you respond to an injustice like that? Well, this is where her story takes a really unexpected turn, completely veering away from what you'd think would happen next.
The author really paints a picture of a fork in the road here. You've got one path, the one we all expect, protests, making demands, launching campaigns. But Martina, she took the other path. She took all that anger, all that energy, and instead of fighting the system head-on, she channeled it into one thing, becoming the best tennis player in the world.
And this quote really sums it all up, right? She didn't protest, didn't get into activism, she just focused on her game. So instead of a political fight, she focused on the athletic one. The author's whole point is that she switched her focus from demanding her rights to fulfilling her duty to be an unstoppable force in her field.
Okay, so did it work? What happened? Did this completely unconventional strategy of focusing on her skills instead of protesting actually get her anywhere? Well, the result was nothing short of a total transformation.
I mean, think about it. The same government that saw her as a political problem, a liability, was now watching her just dominate the world of tennis. Every single trophy she lifted changed the game. She went from being a nuisance they had to manage to a national hero, a source of pride. She became an asset, and one they couldn't just ignore or disown anymore.
And here's the kicker, the absolute crucial point the author makes. Her rights weren't won back because she protested. They were handed back to her because her incredible success made it politically smart for the Czech government to do it. Her talent, her excellence, that became her ultimate leverage.
But look, this story about Navratilova isn't just a cool piece of sports history. For the author, it's a perfect example of a much bigger idea, a whole philosophy on how to get things done in the world.
He basically boils it down to this. Life is full of challenges. That's just a fact. And in that reality, he argues that complaining and protesting is kind of just noise. The only thing that really moves the needle, proving your competence. You know that saying, be so good they can't ignore you? That's pretty much it.
So the author lays out these two totally different approaches. On one hand, you've got rights-based activism, all about protesting, making demands, focusing on what others should give you. He thinks this usually just leads to more conflict. But then there's what he calls duty-based activism. This is all about looking inward, focusing on your own work, and proving you're the best. And that, he argues, is what actually gets you your rights and earns you real respect, just like it did for Martina.
And he's not just talking about big political rights either. He applies this idea to, well, everything in life. The argument is that if you just focus on your duties, on being an amazing engineer, a brilliant artist, a fantastic teacher, whatever it is you do, you will naturally command a level of respect and power that makes getting what you deserve almost automatic.
All right, so where does all this lead? Well, the author doesn't pull any punches. He takes this idea to its most extreme and logical conclusion.
And yeah, it really doesn't get any more direct than this. He flat out says that the path of rights-based activism should never be adopted. So based on this whole line of thinking from Navratilova's story, he completely rejects the protest model. It's a really bold, no wiggle room kind of statement.
And that's where we'll leave it, with a really thought-provoking question for you. Navratilova's story is incredibly powerful, no doubt. But is proving your competence always the answer to injustice? I mean, what about a world with systemic problems, where some people aren't even allowed to step onto the court to show how good they are in the first place? Is this strategy a one-size-fits-all solution? It's a tough one to think about.